Stories of Great Christians. From its radio studios in Chicago, the Moody Bible Institute greets its friends everywhere with Chapter 3 in the transcribed story of Peter Marshall, Chaplain of the United States Senate. The story is based on Catherine Marshall's biography, A Man Called Peter, published by the McGraw-Hill Book Company.
This is Catherine Marshall. Last time we talked together, Peter had had a very strange experience. A voice called to him out of the darkness and saved him from sudden death. It made an unforgettable impression on Peter because there was never any doubt in his mind about the source of that voice. He felt that God must have some great purpose for his life. Through the years that followed, there were other close brushes with death, times when he was spared while others around him were hurt or killed. And out of these experiences, Peter coined the phrase, God's nugatory influences, by which he meant God often uses little things to achieve great purposes.
That's what I meant, Peter, a personal commitment to Christ, to let him fulfill all his will in you.
And to think that all these years I've been only a Christian in name. I'm glad my two friends urged me to come to the meeting tonight, Dominie.
Ah, Peter, there are many young people like yourself. Grow up into the church, accept it as an institution, as something even worthwhile. But through the years, there's never a time of personal commitment. Personal acceptance of Christ. And the years go on, and your life is spent pursuing shadows.
I think that matter is settled. Now I want to serve the Lord.
How?
The speaker tonight talked of China, of its great need.
You think you might become a missionary to China?
I don't know. If there is such a great need, and as he said tonight, we are not our own. We have a responsibility.
Then I would suggest that you contact the London Missionary Society, Peter. They can tell you what must be done.
Will you quit walking the floor, Peter? A body can't rest.
I'm waiting for that mailman. He's getting later every day.
What is so important about today's mail, son?
I should be hearing from London, Mither. I wrote them all of 10 days ago.
Oh, there's the mail now.
It's about time. It's here.
Close the door, Peter. We can't be heating all Scotland.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mither.
Is it from the Missionary Society, son?
Yes, it is.
Bad news? You look so sad.
Mither, excuse me. I just have time to see the Dominie before I must get to work. And I have to tell him about this. Dominie, they can't accept me. They're sorry, they say, but times are difficult.
This is the letter, huh?
Aye.
Times are difficult, Peter. Seems as though our world wars cost us more than we realized. No jobs to speak of. And the churches suffer too, missions especially. People just don't have the money to give. I take it that's the main reason.
But they didn't even write a thing about preparation or their needs or anything else. They said they couldn't consider my application at this time.
Have you thought of home missions, Peter?
Home missions?
Yes. We have an association in Edinburgh. Perhaps there's work you can do right here in Scotland. God knows we have need enough. Then, perhaps someday, God will open the door for foreign work. At least it's worth investigating.
Mr. Hughes, you've been very kind to me. I won't take up any more of your time.
Nonsense, Mr. Marshall. You must see our college before you go. I'll show it to you myself. Just keep your seat for a moment. I want to make sure we understand each other.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you realize the great need in our outlying areas, especially in the Hebrides and the Highlands.
I do, sir. I never dreamed so little was being done for our own people.
However, we like to feel that our workers are definitely called by God to do this work.
Well, sir, I have no definite call, as you put it. I was only converted a few weeks ago. But now I see how God has led me throughout my life for one purpose. I don't know yet where he wants me. The foreign field seems closed. But since I must remain in Scotland, I want to do what I can here.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough, my boy. Now about education.
I cannot come to your college. Not yet. There are certain financial obligations.
Well, you can study in Glasgow for a year. I might even suggest Skerries College to you. You can study English and French there for your preliminary examinations next spring. If you have time, you might begin on your Greek. Could you get to Glasgow?
Oh, certainly. Coatbridge is only 9 miles east of Glasgow. I can keep my job at the tube works and go to classes at night if they have them.
Well, Mr. Marshall, all I can do is wish you Godspeed. You'll need his help. I tremble to think of the way in which you must gain your training. It will be a hard road. But be sure, his grace will help you.
Peter, I'm glad to see you. But how unexpected.
I wondered if I could spend the weekend with you, Mother.
Of course, son. Come in.
Is that broth I smell?
Indeed it is. Good Scotch broth on the fire. And lots of it, too. You look starved, Peter. Aren't you eating?
I'm eating.
One could never tell it from looking at you. Sit down, Peter. You look tired.
I am tired. This feels good. I miss home, Mother. The warm fireplace, the old furniture, the smell of your good cooking.
Away with you now. But, Peter, even though we are poor, it is still a home. Your home. Now, how are you making out?
It's hard, Mother. Working 9 hours a day in the plant, traveling to Glasgow each night. And I'm afraid I'm not doing too well in my studies. I'm always so tired. Look at me now, would you? Yawning as soon as I sit down.
You'll be going to Edinburgh in the spring?
If I pass the examinations.
You'll pass.
I hope so. And if I do, I hope I can get to Edinburgh.
What do you mean?
There's always the problem of money, Mother. 38 shillings doesn't go far when one must travel to Glasgow each day. Oh, but I'm being too morose. Mother, bring on the Scotch broth. The smell of it is too much for me. You asked to see me, sir?
Oh, Marshal, come in. Shut the door. Sit down. Be with you in a minute.
Thank you.
These. Oh, yes, here it is. Marshal, do you remember this?
Well, yes. It's a machine improvement. I drew it up about 6 months ago.
6 months, huh? Well, the mills of the guards and factories grind slowly. Our engineers like it. Think it will save us money. Goes into production next week.
Well, I'm very glad.
Now, we want to reward you in some way. Unfortunately, we're in no position to give you a cash bonus. But how would you like a promotion? Say to charge hand. Would mean an extra 10 shillings a week.
Well, that would be wonderful, sir. It's been pretty hard going to school and all.
I heard about that. Studying to be a preacher, I hear.
Well, that is my hope, sir.
Good. Then settled. You'll begin as charge hand next week.
Mr. Marshall, I must give you forewarning. Your grades this quarter have been inexcusably bad. And it's doubly discouraging to me because you're such a promising student. Now, the examinations begin next week, and unless you begin to improve in your work rather suddenly, I fear you shall not pass the qualification exam at all. Now, get busy, Marshall.
Is this Holmes and Derrick's?
Aye.
Could I speak with Peter Marshall?
Aye, he's right over there. Help yourself.
Peter Marshall?
Yes, you calling me, sir?
You probably don't remember me at all, but do you remember a cousin named James Broadbent?
Jim, it is you. But I thought you were in America.
I was, but I'm working for a big engineering firm now. I'm over here for the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. Took a quick trip from Wales up to Scotland just to see you and the other folks.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Say, Peter, I'm not going to be here for long. Do you think we could slip off and talk for a bit?
Well, we can't leave until the whistle blows.
Mind if I ask the foreman for you?
Go ahead.
Say, friend, I'm only in town briefly, and I'd like to have a talk with my cousin here. How about letting him off for the rest of the day?
Your cousins will get off as soon as the whistle blows, even if he's a charge hand.
But suppose I got Mr. Ash's permission.
Aye, that's what it would take, all right. Mr. Ash being the owner. But that's a bluff. You don't even know Mr. Ash.
Let me use the phone. Mr. Ash, please. Mr. Ash, Broadbent. Yes, I'll see you in the morning. Say, could you spare the services of one of your hands? Marshall. Peter Marshall. He's my cousin. I'd like to spend the afternoon with him. Good. Here, Gopher. Mr. Ash would like to talk to you. Nice room you have, Peter.
Thank you.
What's this? Books in theology, Greek?
I'm studying for the ministry. Hadn't you heard?
No, but I'm glad. Perhaps now I'll have a better chance of convincing you to come to America.
America? I'll never go there. It's a land of barbarians.
But barbarians especially need the gospel, don't they? Well?
Yes, I guess they do.
And so we conclude Chapter 3 in the transcribed story of Peter Marshall, Chaplain of the United States Senate. This story is based on Catherine Marshall's recent biography of her husband, A Man Called Peter, published by the McGraw-Hill Book Company. This is another in the series of stories of great Christians, which come to you from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.